Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine evening? I'm doing well, and I hope you're doing well as well. Today, we're going to talk to Anne-Mieke. I have talked to her the first time in WordCamp the Netherlands. It was about a year ago, I think, maybe a little bit longer. Um, and I love the conversation she has and the things that she shares. She's an accessibility. Let's see. I got a notification from Wave.video. She's an accessibility expert, well known in WordPress world, and a very famous girl actually in the WordPress world as well. That's is what I said to her back then. Um, so let's welcome Anne-Mieke, and there we are. Hello, Anne-Mieke. How are you?
Hi, Lex. Hi, thank you. I'm doing well, and thank you for having me today, man.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's nice of you to join, like we talked about earlier this evening. Um, yeah, tell a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you. Who's Anne-Mieke?
Wow, you want to do this stream for 3 or for 4 hours?
10
No, I'm
minutes.
just, I'm just kidding. All right, no, okay. So yeah, my name is Anne-Mieke Bovelett. I usually tell people just call me Anne because outside of the Netherlands, most people find this name very challenging. And yeah, I've had now 27 years in web design and partially web development. And then 5 years ago already, I discovered accessibility and went in total hyper focus over digital accessibility. And then now I'm known as an accessibility specialist. And Lex, you call me an expert. I would
I'm
never
sorry.
call myself an expert, but that's okay. I appreciate it. I'm also a child of a very artistic family with roots in animation, painting, sculptors, nutty professors. I always joke about it, but it's true. And composers. Yeah.
And composers. That sounds like a very creative family. How was that
Mm.
for you growing up?
Oh, that was that was a split experience actually because inside of our family we had a different life, different standard than the people outside. So we were not a 9 to 5 family, or how do you say that? Have breakfast at 8 and have lunch at 12 and have lunch. If my mother decided we should have dinner at 8 in the night, we would have dinner at 8 in the night. And in the eyes of people around us with very regular lives, that was like, oh, that's really bad. But we were really happy. And we were stimulated artistically like crazy. My mother always said, if your child shows creative talent, don't give them the cheap brushes and the lousy painting from the 2 cents, dollar cent store around the corner. You'll destroy the talent. And so we were always painting, sculpting. We were even allowed to paint on the windows. And I
That's
remember one
awesome.
day in neighborhood, you know how hard it is to paint water paint on a window? I mean, you first have to somehow get some paint on it that sticks, and then you can paint over it. But anyway, the neighbor ladies were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you crazy?" And my mother is like, "That's water paint, honey. That's very easy to clean, and I won't clean it until my kid says I don't like this drawing anymore." So, or she would um uh old sheets, the sheets, bed sheets go broken, they get holes or they get dirty or whatever, unwashable, and then she would put those on a wooden frame, and we had I don't know what you call that in English, dia projector, those
Uh,
white little cards with the picture in it, and then you could project that on the wall, and she would project something from Walt Disney, whatever, and we were allowed to make paintings on that.
that's
And then we would,
awesome.
yeah, we'd invite the class and do this together, stuff like that. Or my grandfather, who had it looked like a very wide window sim
Mhm.
in his atelier, but it was actually a bathtub with clay hidden underneath. And when we were little, it was like, hey, kids, you want to make something nice? Sure. Okay. Put on your bathing suit. And boom, we went into that bathtub with all the clay and we would just sculpt in the clay.
This is
But
insane.
yes, but when you, so if we were in school and we would have art class, you know, that was all so, to me, that was like working on a stamp or something.
Yeah.
And I would always start big, and I would always ask for, can I have a bigger piece of paper, or can I have more colors, or can I have, and then both my brother and I, we were told we were being obnoxious, you know. So yeah, that was interesting. So all the kids always wanted to come and play at our house, but we were never invited at their house because we were a bunch of different kids.
It's just, yeah, I can see that it can be difficult as well if you are not invited. How, but it's fun that people were going over. The kids wanted to come over to your place,
Mm.
and I can imagine with so much freedom at home. Or I thought that we gave our kids a lot of freedom to experience whatever they want, right? And they're 4 and 2 years old, but
Yeah, but
different
you
level.
know what's interesting, Lex, because I said it was double two sides to that.
Yeah.
Because I learned one thing now, I'm in my 50s, is that being too strict with children is not good, but being giving them too much freedom is not good either.
Hmm.
So this, in some ways, this has caused a more difficult journey in my life in my younger years than maybe I would have had if they had been a bit more strict in certain things.
Hmm.
Because to me, the world was my playground. I could say whatever I want. I could do whatever I want. And of course, we had rules. We had regulations. It was not like I could do really stupid things or something. But
Yeah.
so that's the downside
Yeah.
of that. It's Yeah, but nowadays it teaches me to deal with other people, or it helps me to deal with other people when I recognize this over zealousness or whatever, and when I recognize where it comes from. It's nice to converse with people who are like that, or who are like me.
To find equals. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine. Um, let's also see in the chat. I see that there's Jimmy, of course, is in the chat. You changed your
Oh.
settings, Annemike. It looks nice.
Yeah, I have a new desk. Okay, so you want to have a great laugh because it was going to happen anyway during our meeting.
Huh? You're shrinking. What's happening?
Shrinking. Hello. I have a stand up desk now. This is why my settings changed. And I had to go and stand up because I had some surgery that needs me to stand up regularly. So here I am standing.
That's what kind of surgery did you have? If you want to share, of course.
I had a problem in my bowel, and they
Hmm.
had to fix that, and now that's fixed. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Sounds fair. And you've been lying around for a couple of weeks, right? How long was the
Hmm.
recovery time?
Well, that was five. What's it now? 13. That was 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks.
And it's only now that I'm slowly beginning to feel not so tired, because it's big. You get a
Yeah.
full how do you say that? Full
An- Anesthesia.
anesthesia. Yeah. I've been speaking three languages all day today, so my brain is like but yeah. And the thing is, I cannot lie around. I just can't. And this forced me to. So I the after a week in there, like days or something, I needed to take a client call. Well, I really wanted to.
Hmm.
And then I discovered that I could put the table that is next to my bedside, I can put that up real high. So I created my mini standing desk, and then the surgeon, who is a good friend of ours, thank God, he came in and he's like, What are you doing, Bovelette? And I'm like, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, only 5 minutes. But and this is not to show you like, look at how do you say, how stoer? I don't know what the word is in English.
Tough. How tough you
How
are.
tough I am. It's not about being tough. It's about
Yeah.
lying around for days. I don't even like to lie around on the couch when I'm healthy, man.
Yeah. Let alone when you need to for recovery. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine that's really tough. But luckily, you are on your feet now and you have a standing desk as well.
Yes.
And how many times have you tried standing and sitting down during the first day? Because I can imagine for myself, if I have a task that does that automatically, I think I will have a lot of fun before I calm down with pushing the buttons. It goes up, it goes down. Yeah. I just-
This is one thing I learned from my father, okay? When you are working for big corporations or you're hired by them or whatever, and you arrive there in your pretty suit, and your pearls and your golden watch, and people all have this code of conduct. I mean, I like it in a business setting. That's okay, but I'm also me, so I just like to be that. I like to maintain my inner child,
yeah.
and to be that person, like you say, try this desk, go up and go down and go up and go down, and I like literally have an alarm clock that goes off and says, now you have to stand up, and then I
Mm.
start moving around. This is what driving people crazy when I do this all the time, but I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it's good to have those kinds of things. I
Hmm.
also see a comment, by the way,
Oh,
that you
really?
are being very modest from Nicholas Stein. I hope I
All
pronounced his
right.
name
Hi,
well.
Nicholas.
And she's saying that you are definitely an expert. So take that with with not being an expert.
Thank you.
I also see that Toby is in here. Also want to say hi.
Oh, nice. Hi, Toby.
It's nice. You've brought Jimmy, me, and Toby, but also Lumi together, and
Oh, yeah.
it was very awesome for you to do that. By the way,
Thank you. I just do those things without thinking. I'm like, they should be talking to each other. Go talk. Yeah.
go and connect. Yeah, I think it's a very helpful group that you set up, and that we can share and talk with each other about these things.
Hmm.
Um, and uh, how did you come up with the idea? All right, we need those people in the group.
Um, because you are all of a generation on YouTube. You've all recently started out and you're all growing very fast in your channels, but you are growing with what I call a high density audience or a high quality audience, meaning you guys and Lumi as well. I hope she makes videos one day. Although she writes awesome blog posts and
Mm,
stuff, and she's also speaking. Um, you have people who want to know what you are doing, who want to hear what you have to say, and you dive into your topics, and you are behaving on YouTube much different than the ones that started out on YouTube years ago.
yeah,
It's more, you're more up close and personal, and you're real, and this is what I love. It's I don't need the perfect 2,000 euro setup. I just love it how you guys all start out, including David Donato, for example.
yeah,
You start out and you have your background, and I see everything getting prettier over time, and you're all getting better over time. And one of the reasons why I brought you together is also you are all extremely helpful. And so I thought, why don't you guys go and help each other?
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I decided to bring you together. I knew Jimmy. I met him in elementary. I think it was in Porto. Was it in Porto, Jimmy? It was years ago. And Jimmy pinged me a while back, and he was explaining who he was, and I'm like, of course I know who you are, Jimmy. You know, because you all have this sparkly personality. You all do. You're all passionate, and this is passion for what you do and who you hang with, and not passion for, hey, here's my affiliate link, go make me rich, man. And this is not a snide towards other YouTubers. Let that be super clear. But I think you just operate differently. You tick differently, and I love that.
Yeah, and that's also uh, I like that very much. To me, you are very much a kind of a connector. You like to connect people with people, right?
Yeah.
There was something that you said this afternoon that you love that you did. Um, I can't remember. It was on the tip of my tongue, but I forgot. um,
You mean where I say I love doing things that are good for me, but they
yeah,
also have to be good for the whole community.
exactly that quote.
That's the only thing that can motivate me, right? I have ADHD on steroids. And if you don't really know what ADHD is, you'd probably never understand and think it's that diagnosis that they give wild little kids. But it means I have a problem with dopamine,
Mm.
noradrenaline, I can't say this in English. Anyway, dopamine is the biggest problem, right? And dopamine is like this happiness stuff in
Chemical.
your
Yeah.
brain, and my brain doesn't connect in the right way. So I need tons of dopamine to
Hmm.
get me motivated. And doing stuff that's good for me and that pays well doesn't get me any dopamine for some reason.
Mm.
I've been I've been doing a consultancy job once in the Netherlands, and they wanted to have me so bad for that job that they were paying me 250 per hour.
So wow,
Yes, and
that's
they offered this money because I kept saying, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to consult in your company. I don't. You have issues that I cannot be a part of. I don't want to. And then my husband was like, yeah, but don't you like being there? And after 3 weeks, I was done. I was done. I wanted out. I hated that job.
yeah.
I had to drive all the way down south to, oh, my camera is flipping out now. I had to drive hours to get there. I had to sleep over in a hotel,
Hmm.
and I didn't like that hotel. And I'm not some diva, but I just didn't like it. And then I thought, well, they pay me so much money. Oh, I can live with it because of that money. And then I just felt like a digital prostitute.
Yeah, that's
I was
not
like,
good.
that's where I discovered this.
Yeah, that you want to connect with people and not think about
It
money
needs to
at all. Yeah,
serve a
community.
bigger purpose than me, and it needs to be able to continue without me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
creating things that last for a while. What are other examples that you are very proud of creating in a community or any kind of other way?
Um, Two things. If I have to name two very concrete things, um, one of them is when I started working with a company called Grade. They
Hmm.
contracted me. I was contacted by their co-founder Thomas 3 years ago, and he's like, "Oh, I'm this designer from Munich, and I would like to show you a product that we made." And I was just in a happy mood that day. I was like, "Okay, man, let's make a meeting. Let's bring it on," because I love to exchange. So I thought I was going to have a one-on-one exchange with a designer about design, web design, yada yada. And then he started talking about their product called Grade Suite. And he was showing this to me, and this was this amazing multi-site based tool that could do all kinds of things that you can't do in a regular multi-site. And at that time, I was really very focused, and I still am, on where am I losing time. So at the end of the month, I was always looking at, I worked so hard, I did so many things this month, and why don't doesn't that list of invoices that I'm sending this month reflect that?
Yeah.
And I was totally into that. And I had another very big problem. None of the tools that I used to build my website with were accessibility ready. None of them. And if you are profiling yourself like I have as an accessibility advocate at that time,
Yeah.
can you imagine not that I wouldn't practice what I preach? So I was desperate. And then, okay, so he showed me all their tools, and I was like, okay, dollar signs, this, I can save a ton of time with this product. And then he says, yeah, we also have our own theme. And at that time, that was a hybrid theme. It was, what do you call that, with a customizer?
Yeah. It's the poof. Let's call it old school theme because I can't
Yeah,
remember.
classic theme, yeah.
Yeah,
But they
classic theme.
had that customizer, and
Yeah.
then they had Gutenberg, and I was like, no, 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 no. Go away. You have just wasted my time. I like you very much, but go away. No, not Gutenberg. Because I was so focused on working the way I did with my, at that time, favorite page builder, with a completely visual, what you see is what you get. Um, I was irritated, and but he said, give me 10 minutes, come on, I have to show you some things. And I was like, okay buddy, go, bring it on. So I mean, we did like each other, that was good, obviously.
Yeah.
um and then he started showing me the block editor, and then suddenly I was like, wow, this stresses me out so much less than that page builder that I use with 5 million choices on the left and some floating thing on the right. And I don't have to click through so many. Wow, Thomas, can it do this? Oh, yeah, sure. Ours can. Gutenberg can, but we can.
Yeah.
Can it do that? Can it do that? Can it do that? Yeah, 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 yeah. And then he said, we are going to work on a block theme. And then I was like, oh, no, 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 not block themes. No, no, no. But okay. And they developed their block theme. They did so they went into full site editing. And in the beginning, I was just their customer. At the time of the customizer, I was their customer, and I was pestering them about accessibility, because at the time that he and I met this first time, that was my $1 million question. That was like, did you check if your product is accessibility ready? And he's like, what's that? To me, that was refreshing. It was
Yeah.
not the thing I wanted to hear, but it was refreshing that he just said, I don't know what you mean by that. Because so often I get, yeah, 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 sure, yeah, we have someone for that. Yeah, 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 it's in the works. People who are trying to make a smoke screen.
Yeah.
So I took him to his own website and I said, take your keyboard and see if you can navigate. And he couldn't. And I explained him why he couldn't. And a long story short, after about a year of me as their customer and pushing them in the background, like, can you do this? Can you do that? Make this accessible, work on this, work on that. They officially contacted me as their mentor. And the best thing is, and this is why I'm so proud of it, they are practically completely done. And that takes a ton of work. And there will always be little things everywhere. And I told them I wanted to do this journey in public.
Yeah.
So other people get courage. Again, community, right?
Yeah.
And I would sit with their CTO Jacob, and where in other companies, when I sit with the developers and I run a screen reader and the screen reader chokes on whatever they built, they're like, "Oh yeah," and I get some story, and he was just like, "Oh, cool, it's stuck there. Oh, I can tell you, I can see it where the problem is." That, Lex, that is joy. That is pure joy. If someone is like, "Yay!" and because they did this block theme later on, they didn't have any technical debt. So
Yeah.
they could start from scratch. So that is something I'm super proud of. I'm mainly proud of them for doing this and doing this journey with me.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm super proud of is that 2 years ago, Elementor decided to go on GitHub for their feature requests, their bug reports, which I think was a very good idea. And then I wanted to make a quick video tutorial for Elementor users in the group to say, hey guys, I know GitHub sounds really scary, ooh, developer voodoo, but this is how you sign up, this is how you can write a ticket. But then I walked into the back then sign up experience, and I hadn't seen that because I've been on GitHub since 2011, I think. And suddenly I was like Captain Picard in the universe flying around with LSD in his drink. There was like stars were coming at me, everything was moving. And it's not that I have a vestibular disorder, but I'm incredibly sensitive to movement. So, by the way, if anyone watching or rewatching this and wonders why Lex doesn't have his beautiful black animated background, well, that's because I go crazy when he does that. So, and I decided to write to GitHub. They had this discussion opened, this section where you could report accessibility questions or concerns. And then I didn't hear anything for a long time. And then suddenly, 6 months ago, Carrie Fisher, someone who I hold in high esteem in accessibility, she was hired by GitHub. I didn't know it at the time. And she wrote to me, "Anne, look, we're working on it. We're working on it. We've seen your request. I'll keep you up to date." And the fact alone that she decided to tell me what they were doing, even if she couldn't show anything, that was like, "Oh, this is so great." And then in March of this year, she wrote to me, "Our new homepage is live. Can you go and have a look?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was looking at it, and honestly, I had goosebumps. I was nearly in tears.
Hmm.
This is so beautiful what they did. And I wrote this article called "Designers, Your Excuse is Gone. Stunning, animated, and accessible. Yes, you can." I'll share the link with you so you can put them in the show notes if you want to,
Yeah. I
because the
put it in
sign
the
up
chat
site,
as well.
huh?
I put it in the chat as well for people who are
Oh,
curious.
great. Great. Because this, I have been dreaming of a company that would come, a big one that would say, "Hold my beer. I'm going to show you how you do the most beautiful, modern, up to date kind of website with a smashing design and animations that is accessible." Because I see so many fear based designs out there. People are afraid that, oh, maybe we do a WCAG, WCAG, we call it,
Yeah.
violation.
Yeah.
There's nothing more castrating for a designer than fear.
Yep.
I think it comes before pressure, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. A work. It is as well that we have that and it looks so nice. The design of the GitHub, and they have not um, taken away too much elements. Still the basics are there, and you still
Mm-hmm.
have the animations that are available. Please have a look if you guys want to, because it's in the chat.
Oh
Um,
yeah, do so, do so. And this, I love this, and it's become my favorite thing. So I guide companies, right? I guide test teams in
mm,
external test teams into companies to make their stuff accessible. It's a crazy time currently because suddenly half the world realized, like, okay, okay, June 28th is now very close.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not going to be like the GDPR. And now they are all running to get things
Right.
tested and to
Yeah.
show whoever could sue them or could chide them for it. Like, we're working on it.
Yeah. We're
But the
making
best part
strides.
for me is guiding the designers in a different way of thinking, because even if you learn, this is your turf, man. This is UX UI design,
Yeah.
and I am not a UX UI designer. I am not. I don't even pretend that I am. But I see them, they work with design systems, and then there is this corporate style, and the corporate style says very light blue headings on a white background because the
With
light blue is in their corporate design.
yeah.
And then I'm that awful person that tells them you have to use your corporate design differently. And then there's panic because, yeah, but they've always done it this way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
sure, well, then tell them they've lost 12% to 15% conversion because of that. That's a whole other song,
Yeah, for sure.
you know? And then they panic because they know their bosses are going to be mad because they're going to propose to change the way a corporate design is applied, because there is not one corporate design where it comes to, especially where it comes to logos and company colors, that you cannot put to use in another way.
Yeah. You can still use the same colors, but have a different tint, or maybe in another place. That's what you mean, I guess, right? Yeah.
My website is a big tease where that comes to it because I put all kinds of rainbow stuff on it. Um, and I did that on purpose to show when I'm giving training or courses and say, look, I have all colors of the rainbow on my website. Look at my logo. If I would use these colors in the background and try to put text on it, it would look like, well, I'm not going to curse more.
It would look different. Let's
Mhm.
have it like that. Yeah.
But Lex, you are a UX and UI designer. You're always talking to other people, but talk about yourself. I mean, what is accessibility to you? What is it to you in UX and UI?
Well, we haven't done that too much, to be fair, within
Mhm.
the with the dashboards that we have. When I came across accessibility last year, when I met you, um, I was like, we need to do something about it, not only in the website but also in the interfaces that people use, because it's very important that everything is clearly read by people. If they are not
Mhm.
able to read it or tiny letters, and know that there's a lot of people working in tech that are also older, so they need the right size of fonts and also the high contrast to see everything in the right
Mhm.
way. And that's where the perspective came in, that that's part of accessibility. I didn't know it was part
Mhm.
of accessibility, because it was logical. You need high enough contrast for things to be readable. And the way we tested it was, hey, Dave is in here as well,
Oh,
by
nice. He made it. Wonderful. Hi, Dave.
the way. And the way we tested it was on a laptop or on a mobile phone, and
Mhm.
just see, could people read this. And I gave it to my stepdad, but also to my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law, and also my mother and my dad itself, and my stepmom,
Mhm.
and also people of my age, because
Well, that's the way to do it.
yeah, yeah, and that's how you can verify, are things working the way
Mhm.
they are? Are they can they be used as intended? And when I test with people at my age, they're used to using the phone, so they know how to scroll the phone and know how to use
Mhm.
it. But it gets more difficult when you haven't been growing up with this kind of technology. You have to adapt.
Yeah, I'm going to show you something interesting. Hang
Yeah.
on. For anyone who is using an iPhone, I'm pretty sure they will have this for what do you say that? What do you call that? Android.
Yeah,
All right. Let's see if I can show you this.
it's a filter, right?
You see me?
Yeah,
The beautiful red, suddenly not so red lipstick.
yeah. That's weird.
This is my room. This is weird, right?
Yeah, it's blue on the
Well,
sides, but not red.
this is an app. It's called Sim Daltonism, and it gives you a simulation of the surroundings for someone who is colorblind,
Hmm.
and they have all kinds. Now, do you also try designs in black and white?
That's my preferred way, actually. It's easier to design.
Yes, and I think this is an essential thing for people who are into UI design. When I see them, all of them do that. But the people who are not in UI design, I'd like to show that to you all. Look, oh, the lighting is really bad, right?
Yeah,
So a
exactly.
phone,
Yeah.
oh gosh, this is horrible. I should do this with my iPad. Well, if I make the phone gray, yeah, no, you don't see it. Oh, that really sucks. Sorry.
It's fine.
I'll make a video about that one day showing what happens when things suddenly go black and white, because then the red balloons and the impulse to press, it's
They
gone.
disappear. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Because just like you showed in the app, of course, the
Mhm.
red is more blended with the colors. So if you don't see it, then you don't see the notifications or whatever. I have it off, by the way, by default, because I find it very annoying. But yeah.
Yeah, I have my phone turned to gray all the time because I'm super susceptible to all these impulses.
Hmm.
And when I see red balloons, no matter what I'm doing, how important it is, even if the world was about to burn down, I want to see what's happening.
Hmm.
And that's dopamine.
Yeah. The curiosity is killing you.
I'm the cat.
Yeah. um, it's a wonderful that you are sharing this. Are there any other tools that you can share about accessibility? Because I'm getting into accessibility just a little bit, of course, with the UX. The contrast is one thing, and the font size. You have tools for that to test those out to see
Mhm.
if it's big enough, and you have some guidelines as well. But the app, just like you showed, is a very handy tool actually for people to try out how their site looks.
Yeah, and even if you don't have that app, I've made a video on YouTube that actually shows how you can do this with your browser.
Hmm.
But you know what is one of the best tools for testing in the world?
My nose. Your fingers. All right.
I know it's obnoxious that I tell it that way, but if you go into your website and you start using the tab key, then the focus of where you were at the page will jump from link to button. Those are called focusable elements. They're
Hmm.
always interactive. Um, or they require some interactivity, like form fields, for example. And the browser by default, if you haven't messed with the settings, or if you're the creator of your WordPress theme, for example, hasn't messed with these settings, and you are maybe not such an experienced designer, but you bought this beautiful theme or you installed this WebKit or whatever, um, many designers get complaints from customers like, "Can you remove the ugly blue lines, please?" I had a standard auto reply in my days as Elementor community person on Facebook to explain why that is bad. But anyway, your finger going over your own side with your tab key, and then check if you can see where you are at.
Hmm.
And the worst things are, for example, cookie banners.
Yeah.
So you open your site in incognito mode with your cookie banner, and then you start tabbing. What happens? Are you getting onto the site? Can you close that button if you want, or that modal, from the cookie banner? You should be able to close it with an escape key,
Yeah.
or you should be able to reach that X button to close it. Um, and if you can't, that's actually something that could cost you a lot of conversions. And people are like, oh man, you're not a typical accessibility person. You're always talking about conversion. But it is people
Yeah.
that give you that conversion. It means for the more people you make the more people you feel comfortable on your website or in your app, the better you're going to do. So if you test that, you can test with your finger. Another big fun thing to try is voice control. If you're on Mac, for example, I don't know
Mm.
how it works on Windows. I still have to. I installed Windows, but it's been like 11 years, so I have to try
A lot of change.
the voice controlling app from Windows. Because usually it's the people that I work with who do the testing all the time, who use that stuff a lot. But I use voice control on Mac, and that is insane. You can actually say, click. You see a button or a glorified link. That's what I call a button that only uses a link.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, okay, click more info. And if there are more than one button on the site with that text, which is a very non-descriptive text, obviously, it's going to
Yeah.
say, it's going to put numbers. So I will say click more info and then 3 or 2 or whatever. But sometimes this doesn't work. And usually it means that under the hood, the text, someone has put an attribute to it. This becomes
Mm.
very technical for a lot of people, but an attribute can be a bit of code that you can add. Most modern page builders give you that possibility.
Mm.
And then you can give something an area label, for example. And the first rule of area is don't use it if you don't
No.
have to.
All right.
So, but with an area label, in this case, you can actually give more information. This is what you need to do when something is just an icon, because not everybody understands icons or
Yeah.
can't see it well, or there can be so many reasons why an icon alone doesn't work for someone. And but if you are well intended, as a someone who is building the site, then you want to explain your button. Let's say you create a link as a button, okay, and you say, sign up Dave Donato did a fantastic video on that. Link it, that it's a good video. Anyway, when, for example, you want to explain too much, so you come from the best place in the world, you mean really well, but when your button says, um, sign up, and you add an area label in the attribute that says a lot of things, like, if you click this, you will go to the page where you can register for this event. Did you hear it? There, not anywhere in this sentence, sign up was mentioned. Now, the
Yeah.
problem is assistive technology doesn't read what you can see.
Mm.
It reads what is in the code, and the code didn't say sign up. So if someone with voice control is trying to click that button, nothing happens. And then they do have a workaround for it. So they can ask the controller to show, what do you call it, like a grid,
Mm.
and it's a numbered grid. And then you can say, click on grid number 16 or whatever. But this is making people jump through a hoop.
Yeah.
It's just as bad as going into a store with stuff you really want to buy and they don't have any price tags.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. My camera is, I'm moving too
I'm,
much.
I'm out of focus. And you're
Hmm.
not even moving that much, if you ask me.
Oh, he's back.
There we go.
I have to come really close.
You have to stay very, very close. We can both stay very close at the camera.
Oh yeah, hello.
It will stay in focus. But what you're sharing, it's and those are really simple tests to do
Mhm.
actually to see and try out how you do this. And like you said, Dave does an amazing job with
Oh man,
explaining
I
what you need
love
to do. And
Dave. I
yeah,
love what he does. It's just, you know, I walked out of the elemental community. I didn't leave the community, but it felt like walking out on them. Because I was going and still am all in on the block editor for several reasons. You know, things I build with the block editor are fast out of the box. My backend is like a rocket. I don't need to understand and install anything to make it faster.
yeah.
I had all kinds of reasons not to. And then I thought, yeah, I'm talking about the block editor all the time. And that might look a bit crazy if I am still in the Elementor group as a moderator. That would send a really weird message. So I decided I didn't want that to happen. I mean, it's a great team. They're working really hard. They're pulling the boat really hard currently where it comes to making things accessible or
Yeah.
accessibility ready, I should say. And that is a tough process, and I know it. And I didn't want to be in the way by staying on as a moderator and say, "Hey, yeah, the block editor is it."
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine.
And so, and on the other hand, every community, including the elementary community, needs accessibility advocates and people who give practical advice and who have good tips and good things to say about accessible people who are researching this topic until they can't stop, you know, who go deep. And Dave goes deep.
Yeah.
Dives into stuff where I'm like, man, you're diving into stuff that I didn't dive into in the first 2 years. And also with his developer mind. So, people, if you see this, follow Dave Donato. He is excellent where it
I
comes
think it
to
was a very
accessibility.
great name what you said. Dave Dive.
Dave dives, yeah.
Dave dives deep.
Dave dives deep. DDD. Oh, hey, Dave, you have a new brand, man.
Yeah, new brand. We can help you set it up
but
because
but yeah, it's and I was incredibly relieved
yeah,
to see that someone else in the elemental groups was like, let's talk about accessibility, people. It's I'm really, because that's a big and also very important community. I think they now have 17 million installs.
yeah, something like
Maybe
that.
it's even 18 million. I don't know. So yeah, it's amazing when people speak about this topic and when they are in these groups. And of course, one of the things people like me and Dave and others speaking about accessibility, we're always the bad guys.
Yeah, you get some kind of criminalized because you are speaking up at accessibility and how important it is, and also because it's a large number of groups. Even when you say 10% of conversion, it means I don't know how many X people are not able to use your website then, because the conversion.
Let me ask you a question. This one is
Yeah,
also for the audience, right? We're just going to wait before I answer it. What do you think hay fever and conversion have in common where it comes down to accessibility? Hay fever, people.
hay fever. Let's see what the people are saying. I didn't see any reactions as of now. Only the latest reaction of almost 19 million from Nicholas
Mm-hmm.
about the Elementor.
All right.
Um, but if you ask me, I would imagine that you get some kind of watery eyes, that you are
Mm-hmm.
not cannot see everything well enough. I don't know if you even want to sit behind your computer because everything is so clogged up
Hmm.
and squished down. I can imagine that something with your nostrils is also happening, or
Hmm.
your nose. So
All
um,
right. Yeah, you're getting there. You are describing a lot of symptoms. Okay. Hay fever. You are tired. You're
mm,
easily irritated. You're easily distracted. You don't sleep well. I have hay fever, and fortunately, only for very particular things. But when it hits me hard.
ooh,
Now I pulled up some numbers because the topic of hay fever is an example that is also given in the courses for designers by the Alley Collective.
mm,
Okay. And they also mentioned this example, and I love them for it. And at some point, when I first read that, I was like, I'm going to research this. How many people have hay fever? Okay, be ready to get shocked. Asia overall, for example, no, let's say Japan. In Japan, almost 47% have
47.
hay fever.
Wow.
And in general, in Asia, it's 18%. And this is from scientific research, right? I have
Mm,
all the sources there because I hate saying numbers without proper backup research.
yeah.
And in Japan, this has something to do with the war and the trees they planted. I'm not going to get into it too much, but hay fever is big in Japan. It's like that song. It's big in Japan. Um,
It's big in
but
Japan.
generally, Asia, 18% of the people have hay fever.
Mm,
Um, United Arab Emirates, 32% for allergic rhinitis, which is the official name. Um, and Europe, a large study across Belgium, France, Germany, yada, 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 yada,
mm,
ranging from 17% in Italy to 29% in Belgium, with an overall average of 23%. UK, 26% they measured. Scandinavia, Sweden, 28%. Okay, anyone who has a brain who can calculate the number of people that suffer from hay fever. And if your design and your site is not super clear and easy to navigate, and you make people think or you distract them with hoodoo, voodoo, and movement and all that stuff because you think that looks professional,
it
you
looks
are
nice.
walking away from an incredible number of potential customers.
Yeah.
It's not only about people who are blind, and you saw my presentation in WordCamp Netherlands.
Yeah.
I showed you in this video, it's 54 seconds, the misconceptions about being blind.
Yeah.
And if you have these examples, and if you have to go to your boss and say, hey, boss, our work student or whatever, he did a great website or she did a great website with this and this tool, but it's actually not accessible, then the boss is going to go, what are you talking about? I don't want to hear this. It's woke, it's blah.
Yeah. It's
And
not
then,
mandatory for our customer.
oh no, it's not mandatory. Let's lose some turnover. Let's walk away from that.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing to me is always, especially bigger companies, they invest thousands in search engine optimization, right?
Mm,
And then the SEO agency is like, yeah, look, we did this and we did that. And suddenly they have this incredible bounce rate that sticks. And they will, when the click rate goes up by only 0.5%, they're like, yay. And I'm
they're
like,
celebrating. Yeah.
yeah, you're walking away from 10 to 15%, but yay for your stupid click rate. But the bounce rate stays high. And then they get into conflict with their SEO agency because they're like, we're paying you thousands and we still have this bounce rate. And you said you did everything. And our designers said they did everything. And our marketing agency said they did everything. I don't even have to look at that site. I can tell them just there and then
Yeah.
that there are issues with accessibility. And the thing is, it's low hanging fruit, all of it. change the contrast in certain places, add focus to it's not rocket science, people.
Yeah, and if you're talking because you were talking about Elementor and grade, right?
Hmm.
I think it's a very good question also for Jimmy. Um, he asked not to pressure anyone, but don't you think that people developing those page builders should be making their product completely accessible? Because as designers, we can do our best, but sometimes I feel powerless because how far can I go as a designer using a page builder to make it accessible? You know what I
That
mean?
that is a very, very reasonable thing to say.
Yeah,
And I'm sure all these page builder creators agree with it. Okay. And so I'm going to go on to the defense of the big page builders. The code base is huge.
yeah,
The code base is older. And they have so many sites depending on them. So they have to be super, super, super careful
yeah,
when they change something. They always have to check, isn't there a breaking change? Isn't there a problem with backward compatibility? This is an incredible responsibility. So the process is really slow and for a good reason. And they are working on it, they're showing it. And this goes for all of them. I mean, a bricks builder is doing their best. I know that Kevin Geary with Etch is baking it in from the start.
yeah, yeah. He's really doing something amazing with that.
He's
Yeah,
lucky because he could start
yeah,
without technical debt,
yeah.
right? But all the other big page builder companies, they have to work really hard. And you know what I can say to all of you, including to you, Jimmy? I agree with what you're saying. And please help your favorite page builders to get more accessible. It's huge. Nicholas is here too. I just saw it, right, and heard. I hope he's still here. Um, Nicholas is always paying attention to who is saying something about accessibility, and write your feature requests, write your bug reports, but be nice. Come from yes, because it happens so much that people are pointing fingers like you're bad, you're not doing that right. That is so frustrating, and you have to think about how are you going to say it. So just
Yeah,
another example from my daily life. Okay, I work with a professional testing team. They don't do anything else all day long than check websites and find the problems. And every time when I start with a new team member, I have to put on the brake because they write, this is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong. It's all wrong, wrong, wrong. This is how you don't get, oh, wow, the camera is doing it
yeah.
again. Hello.
That's very good.
um,
Huddle up.
and then I tell them, can you say this in a different way? So if, don't say, let's say something easy, the focus isn't working.
Yeah,
And if you add focus styling to this, it will work better, or
yeah,
it will be better, or it will comply. Man, I hate that the camera is doing that.
yeah. I can
I'm
imagine.
all distracted by that now.
Yeah.
Hello.
First time that I had my camera with the lens and with the autofocus and everything on,
Hmm.
I was just playing all the time with it, focus,
Yeah,
unfocus,
yeah,
because
you do.
I
What camera do you have?
it's like a ZV-E10, I guess, from a couple of years. I bought it second hand, so it was very cheap.
What CV? Yeah, like, what is called CVE10?
ZV-E10. Yeah, I can send you which one it was.
Please do.
Um, But yeah, just like you said, and Claude Sack also says it right here. It's my brother's brother, by the way.
Hmm.
Um,
Hello,
constructive
brother.
feedback is a rare thing. You can point out everything that's wrong with a design, with a development, or whatever. But if you don't do it the right way, it's received in a wrong way, and then you get resistance instead of
Yes,
that they are accepting that what you're saying is a good thing. You're trying
someone
to
who's
help.
angry is not listening, is not
Yeah,
capable of listening.
yeah,
Actually, what you do when you treat someone bad in that way, you are causing instant cognitive issues.
Yeah, it's immediately blocked, not open to receive anything else.
Yeah, and that's it is so unnecessary.
Yeah.
So yeah, be constructive, and maybe we should do an entire session. We get
Mm.
Nicholas, and we get Dave, and we get Toby, and Jimmy, and everyone, and we do this group panel, and then we're just people can throw negatives at us, and then we're going to say, you can say that differently.
That would be nice. A positive feedback uh, uh, kind of
Well,
round.
it's basically, Lex, it's the same mechanism as when I am working with designers, where I will ask them, can you think of variations?
Yeah.
If no one would stop you, what variations would you think of? And one of the most beautiful variations I saw, because they were working with my favorite color, was they had turquoise and white, and they had a little bit of very dark gray. And then I said, now, what are you going to do with that? You have to, they had to use images of big words in their design, big word here and a big word there, that were not even officially meant to be read, but because they were words,
Yeah.
they still had to have some readability. And then something amazing. They took this color, and then they started using them in different, how do you say, gradation? No, different
Shades?
shades, and the whole design just started living.
Mm.
It was beautiful. They put the turquoise on the dark background instead of on the white background, and then these different shades of turquoise, and it was amazing.
That's really awesome.
And it's the same thing, like when you talk to people about making things accessible. Yeah, and to managers, I will just say, if you do it like that, you'll convert more.
Yeah, and that's constructive and better feedback that I
Mm,
can also do. I want to be a little bit wary of our time as well because it's
mm.
1 hour and 2 minutes, and we are quarter past nine. I don't know if you have a hard cutoff point at
I
this
don't.
time. You don't? Well, then we can even converse a little more if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
fine with that.
because I had a question from Toby as well.
Hmm.
Uh, Uh, related to grade, I guess, he asked the
Hmm.
question, Anna, are you concerned about the slowed down development of the block editor, especially with changes as regards to the regulatory of the core updates?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Um, Honestly,
you're not.
I'm not. And of course, remember, this is me, my personal opinion. It would be great if we would be able to introduce new features. So officially, for anyone who is like, what are they talking about?
Yeah,
Um, in WordPress, it was decided not to do 2 or 3 versions a year, but only once a year for now. It might change. And what they will put into releases, so you have these sub releases, minor releases, and they will put bug fixes, and they will things that are already in there that are being improved. This is a big chance for accessibility.
to come in and do things for the Gutenberg project then.
Yes,
Ah,
yes, for the Gutenberg project, it would be great. But also for the dashboard, there are
yeah,
still, of course, parts of the dashboard are classic, parts of that are already for the site editor. Um, there are much less contributors from automatic right now, and it means there's also room for new people. Um, and what I'd like to say to anybody is go in there, go on GitHub, and write me a message if you don't understand how that works, because your input is worth so much. Just give your input, tell what you're missing, be constructive.
Yeah.
And even if you think, who am I? I'm not a developer. I hear people say, I'm just a designer. Oh man, I get so sad when people say, I'm just a designer. You count. Everybody counts. Everybody who's using WordPress, they count. And so this is also a period. I mean, what are we, May? So let's say it doesn't happen until next year. Okay. This is months and months and months where people can do bug fixes, where they can test, and not only in accessibility, in all kinds of regions. For example, in UI and UX,
Yeah. As well.
you can see the Figma files from WordPress. You can see where they're going, and what they've been working on, and give your input.
Yeah.
Please give your input. That is so important. This is your chance, folks. So no, I am not worried, because WordPress is stable. It's doing well, and of course, we want it to grow, and especially these times, all the developments that are happening also with AI. By the way, talking about AI,
Yeah.
um, I tried the AI site generator from
Mm.
WordPress.com,
Yeah.
of which Automatic said it's going to come to .org as well. But actually, it already is, because something that people who are not working with the site editor or the block editor don't know is, if you are in one site using the block editor and you just select all these blocks left in the list view and you hit copy, you can go over to another install and say paste.
Based. Yeah.
And when these are core blocks, you have no problem at all. The moment you run into problems is when you start using themes with custom blocks. There are some famous block editor, what do you call them? Companies,
Yeah.
block-based companies that create a custom block for everything.
Yeah.
I understand that, and I know why they want to do that. It is fine, but then you are walking away from core.
Yeah.
But as long as it's core, you can copy and paste. You can actually also, um, uh, let's say you have tried whipping up a really quick design with the AI generator of WordPress, and you copy the blocks because you are in the block editor. Once that is done, that's what I saw. And then you go to Playground from WordPress. So you don't
Yeah.
have to go to your hosting server. You just go to Playground,
That's
and
amazing.
you paste it there, and then you play around with it, and then you're like, oh, I like this. Copy the whole shebang and then go to your server.
Yeah. You don't need a staging site because you can use it directly into the playground. I saw that at WordCamp as well. I was like,
Mm.
wow, this is amazing. Also transferring, if I remember correctly, you could transfer data into Words from a other site to copy it on inside of Gutenberg, something like that.
I saw something like that, but that I didn't know what it was exactly, so I'm not gonna go get into that. But
Can imagine.
yeah, it's I've been asking for about 6 months now to
Mhm.
see who is making great video tutorials about the block editor. Because I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. This is a premiere here.
Ooh,
I've been waiting for people to tell me they're making tutorials, especially girls. And yes, there are some girls making some amazing stuff, like Anne McCarthy.
yeah,
But I don't see people making tutorials like, this is, as a designer, this is how you would set up your global styles, or as a designer, this is how you would do this or that. And I had a lot of pain during my building processes at some point when I started using the site editor as well, because I'm a spoiled brat. I've been working with Grade from the start. So with Grade, I had responsive settings, I had my spacings, I had everything already set, which you don't have in Core yet.
Yeah.
I gave a webinar last week about that, about how powerful you can be with WordPress and blocks and stuff. But I don't see anyone doing these hands on, quick, but very effective tutorials. So I did a soft launch of geekonheels.com. You can sign up because now I am going to create these tutorials and maybe we can do that all together. I would love to also do videos with people like you tried great. I remember you just tried it out of the box. You had really researched it really well. So thank you for that. You know, I love it when people do good research before they get into something.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would just love to get as many people on there who do hands-on tutorials about the block editor, because the thing is, if you are stuck in your bubble of your favorite page builder or your favorite this or that, look at it from a tooling point of view, right? You have these companies that build, they can build landscaping, they can build sheds, they can build complete flats, apartment buildings.
Yeah.
Imagine those people would only work with guys who have these carry-on, what do you call them, kruiwagens? I don't remember. What do you call these in
Wheelbarrows.
English? Huh?
Wheelbarrows.
Yes. Okay. So imagine, they only work with guys with wheelbarrows instead of big bulldozers and stuff. And for one project, the guy with the wheelbarrow and the hammer and the nails is great to build that small shed. But if they have to build an apartment building, sending 100 guys with wheelbarrows is not going to make that process any better.
No.
They need to send in something else, being the bulldozers. And that principle is something I would also like to give people. Like, it's great when you're stuck with your favorite tool, but think about if you're using the right tool for the right job. And I think the block editor, if it's used correctly and with the right tools around it, is fantastic for a lot of jobs, especially
Yeah.
when you need speed, and when you need your for this is also great in Elementor, right? And in Bricks probably too. Um, the design and everything, you build it up, but the content management, the blogs, the custom post types, let them be filled with the block editor.
Yeah. Yeah. That's also how we approach it usually. The blog pages, uh,
Hmm.
and that sort of thing. I do find if we want a very specific design, uh, that would be a nice challenge because I'm working now as a WordPress specialist. And
Hmm.
oh, you're out of focus. Again.
Again, yeah. Hello, focus,
Um,
focus.
and we do have a very good designer. I
Hmm.
think it's a very nice challenge and see if we can do that. To create a nice design that we can try to replicate in different page builds, but also full site editor with the Gutenberg. Um, I've tried the Gutenberg and full site editing in the past.
Hmm.
I do know that you have a lot of basic settings that you are familiar with using Elementor that you can just do in full site editing as well.
Hmm.
My biggest gripe usually is when using the blocks. And that's also the thing that I had with Elementor at a certain point. That's why I left
Hmm.
Elementor, because I come from a front end developer kind of thing. And if you
Yeah.
don't have CSS properties available for you and need a different place to create classes, um, that's a very bad experience. And I don't know if they have changed that you can do it in line within the component itself, or
But you can create a class for almost every component in the block editor. You
but
can.
can you also do the CSS changes right right in there. If I remember correctly, you need to open up code snippets or whatever
Mhm.
to make those changes. I dislike that because
No, you
then,
can
like,
do that. You can do that, but you cannot do it in the in I understand you're on the
yeah,
page and then you
yeah,
want to assign this class and then you want to get this thing. Okay, by grade.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what
I
I
know I'm
thought.
talking about grade a lot, but this is just because they are an agency that had all these
Yeah,
pains that they and things that are getting fixed in the block editor, they will take it out. It just happened to me. Man, I felt so stupid last week because it's been a while since I built a new site from scratch, right?
Mm,
And I was so happy with those additional grade styles. I mean, all they do is just take up the values from the JSON from core, and they had these settings to do. Uh, uh, oh gosh, I can't remember the word right now. This is coming with my age. Um,
typography, I remember
yeah,
that.
the typography, fluid typography.
Yeah,
So they had nice fluid typography settings, and it is the smallest, and the largest. And then last week, Thursday, I'm doing this webinar showing what the power actually is, all in large. And I'm like, where are my settings for fluid typography? Now, I knew that WordPress core had implemented fluid typography. So for a while, fluid typography, the interface from Grade, which basically touches the same thing in the JSON, and the ones from WordPress were there at the same time. And they did what they always do. When core puts something in, they take theirs out
yeah,
without pain, without backwards hoo-ha, without problems, because they're always basing on core. But I get your problem. I have a solution to that. I'm just very practical person. So if I need to assign classes to things, I will assign them to whatever component I need them for.
yeah,
And in a second screen, I have the CSS editor
open.
open for core, and I
Yeah,
just have to remember to refresh and everything. But that's how I work, because to me, being able to work with what core gives me and the speed of that, it's just I've become such a spoiled brat. I get angry when my backend slows down.
yeah, I get that feeling for sure. Yeah, had that a few times as well.
Hmm.
It's just annoying, and mostly comes to page builders being very heavy and then having a poor server that does not cannot
That
compute
too,
digitally.
that
Yeah,
too. But it's
the
just,
averages.
just, it's just. I think it's wild that people think the block editor can't do anything because nobody is creating content about it. I'm like, yes, Jamie Marsland is,
Yeah,
of course, but look at what you all do for Elementor, for Bricks Builder, Etch, whatever is running around. There's so much content being made about that, and I
yeah,
think if people would make just as much content about the block editor, it would be a lot more popular. Okay, I'm going to have to put my desk down now.
yeah. It's fine.
Let's see if it
Yep.
wants to. Does it want to?
Else we're going to see a very tiny Anamika.
It's not. Oh yes, it is now.
But I had a feeling as well when I discovered Green Shift. That was my way into
Hmm.
full site editing, and
Yeah.
I was surprised with the power that it has, also for the dynamic data. I and that you are able to use that. It was Green Shift and Cadence that introduced me to
Hmm.
Gutenberg and full site editing,
Hmm.
and it delivers so much power actually that is indeed, like you said, is underutilized. It's not being shown on YouTube. Actually, yeah, it's a bare minimum actually,
And I'm
and
like,
I get it as
why?
well.
Why? And now WordPress has this thing called block bindings, and
Yeah,
they do not have this for everything yet. But for very essential things, they even have it in core. And there are plugins that can help you with that. And I mean, I am. I'm not a big fan of installing a lot of different plugins, but again, I'm a snob. I'm using Grade. It has everything. It has search and filter. It has custom post types. It has SMTP. It has everything that eats me in every install that I used to have with so many different plugins. But that is a personal preference. I mean, you can go with Core and install what is it? It's a plugin by Nick Diego, I think, for conditional display, for example. I
Mm.
have all that too. But if you want to work with Core and have that, or you can have it. It's there, but people don't talk about it. And I
Yeah,
would love to do videos about that too. Like, here's Core, here is how you can extend it. Um, uh, it would be great. And the reason why I am such a believer, first of all, hell froze over because I started using it.
yeah,
And second, Jamie Marsland, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, he got his daughters who'd never built a website in their life. And he gave them a design and he said, you use Gutenberg, which at that time was not so good as it is now, and you do Elementor. And I called a couple of friends and we were having this watch party together for this video because we
awesome.
were like, oh man, the daughter with Elementor is just going to totally crack this. It's going to be great. She lost by a mile. Yes,
Yeah,
the daughter who used the block editor, and that shifted my mind. It was like, wait a second, I'm in this bubble of page builders and everything, but what about people who are new and
yeah,
young coming to WordPress, to the block editor and the site editor, and it should be modernized. The backend, they're modernizing it now to make it more attractive, to make it more usable. And then there was this other guy, Calvin Alkan is his name. He made Command UI.
yeah, for sure. That he was amazing. Yeah,
I'm in
amazing
love with
guy.
Command UI. And today he released a great suite integration.
Oh, awesome! That's great. Pun intended.
Pun intended.
So, for those of you who don't, for people who don't know what Command UI is, could you explain?
Oh, that is keyboard navigation in WordPress on steroids, right? If you're anything like me and you don't like to use your mouse and to click on everything and you like to use your shortcuts, I know, especially there are these guys who love their variables and stuff, they're those keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
Mhm. If you're a keyboard warrior, I'm too. Then wouldn't it be great if you could just say, okay, uninstall this plugin, tick, 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 with just a couple of how do you say, characters.
yeah,
Or if you want to go to a certain page, or if you want to add a new entry to a custom post type that you've created, and you can fly through your backend without having to touch your mouse. You can just go from anywhere. Use on Mac is Command K. I don't know what it is on Windows actually. Probably
Control
Control
K.
K. So it's 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 super fast. And he did, for accessibility, he did something very important, because if you use it normally, it will always have the first option in the list that drops down while you're typing. It is happening live. You will see whatever you're typing. The menu,
Mhm.
it's becoming a drop down menu, and normally it would pre-select the first item, which is horror for people who depend on assistive technology. Ah, you got it there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking it up.
Yeah, and they are celebrating this integration with Grade. So if you want to buy Command UI, you got to be quick. I don't know how long it's going to stay up, but there is a coupon code out there right now. It's called Grade with capitals GREYD, that gives you a 20% discount on Command UI.
That's really awesome. When it came out, I immediately bought uh, the yearly just to try it out, and
Yeah.
I felt it was so amazing that I bought the lifetime for site owner for 5 sites. it's not for me to get around, but I also can really recommend Command UI. It makes your life so much easier to just see things. Um, if you're using something like Spotlight on Mac, when you press
Mm.
Command Space, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
you can search throughout your whole Mac. And some people
Mhm.
use Raycast, which levels up that finding even more. And Command UI is something similar, but then for WordPress. On Windows, we have the same thing. When we press the Windows key and you just start typing,
Mhm.
you see that you can just search your videos that you have.
Mhm.
Or I'm sometimes a gamer. Play Diablo 4 nowadays.
Mhm.
Um, and you can just find it with ease. I don't know if you can find files in here, but this gives an example of what Command UI does for you as well. It gives you amazing shortcuts to get to places very easy and very fast, and
Yeah,
then
and
let you
oh,
adjust things.
today he wrote something very significant because on Twitter, he was explaining to people on Twitter after Greg came out with their video about this integration. Um, he wrote that through working with Greg, who are specialized on doing things in multi-sites that multi-sites normally cannot do, um, he decided to work on stuff in Command UI for regular multi-sites, and that is just, that's what I call the open source love. Yeah, you go and find him on Twitter. Oh, I'll find the tweet
Yeah.
for you and send it to you.
Let's see. So integration. Yeah, here it is. Already open. So this integration also gave me many ideas for improving the experience of working with classic WordPress multi-site, which I hope to
Yeah, that
release
one.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's amazing that you did the collaboration with him. I think it's really nice that he and Great work together with it.
It's it's
And
it's
then,
it's amazing, and I think more companies should work together like that.
yeah, sure.
Um, uh, and they are. You see it happening now. People have been talking to each other at PressConf. They've been talking to each other at WordCamp US, and more collaborations are happening now, and people are looking at where can we improve our strength, where can to improve a tech stack or whatever. This is a very interesting development. This is something from what I feel is lately this has been happening a lot, and there are products that empower each other so much. It
Yeah,
is, and the same with open source plugins that are freely available in WordPress.org, especially for blocks. I mean,
yeah,
it's
there
it's
are a lot. Yeah,
mm,
for sure. And I love that Jamie is also showing that on his YouTube channel that you
yeah.
have solutions. Just like I showed on my live stream a couple of weeks back, I could revisit it. It is something like a great alternative, a block era, it's called, and
I saw that.
enhances the block editor as well.
Mm,
And, the one thing that I'm very excited about is that they're trying to create. You have the theme.json where you can set
mm,
all kinds of stylings and
yeah.
preset things. And they are working on integrating into the theme.json with a visual editor so that you have a UI to make
The
changes.
other way around. That is
Yeah,
super smart. That
yeah.
is super smart to do it that way.
And that's what I said to him as well. You should create a loose plugin just for doing that because that makes people's life so much easier to do. Maybe Mike could do that also from
Mm.
Ollie theme. He's also a very
Oh
very talented
yeah.
guy and also a nice designer.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and there are products that combine with each other really well,
yeah,
and by the way, when you want to try out if something would combine, you can also use WordPress Playground for that. There is
yeah,
a cogwheel on the top right, and when you click that and you say allow network access, you can open it and ask it to create a multi-site. but you can also ask it to do network connection, and then you can install plugins, and then from the repo, and then or I never tried uploading a plugin, but I think even that you can do, and then you can go ahead and play around. Of course, don't reload because then it's gone. It's happening in the browser, but just for a very quick test,
Yeah.
yeah.
We- I could use this instead of InstaWP from now on, I guess. It saves a lot of money as
Well,
well.
if you're using InstaWP, obviously your site is up for a few hours
Yeah.
or a few days, depending on what you signed up for. So
Yeah.
if you have to do all these tryouts for a living, but if you need to test something really fast, you could do it like that. What browser are you using?
Vivaldi.
Oh, nice. So but because you have your stuff on the left. I was using Arc.
Yeah.
And then I heard they are well, they're actually not discontinuing it, but they're stopped developing it, and now they're running after students with a new AI browsing product.
Yeah.
And then I was
Vivaldi was.
like, I felt really old because I was like, oh no, and I loved Arc so much, and I could do this and this and this, and people were like, yeah, you can do that in Firefox too, and in
Yeah. And I
Brave,
tried that
and
one. I follow a guy called Theo.
yeah, Theo, he's so
Yeah.
cool.
I
T3
love I,
Theo.
I I love it. And I tested out Zen browser, which is based on Firefox, but
Mhm.
the there are so many websites that do not support Firefox that I use as
Yeah.
applications that it is just a no-go for me. That when something is blocked and I cannot use it, but I love the interface. I
Oh,
love how clean it
yeah.
is and how it works.
Yeah.
So I looked for alternatives, and the alternative that I could found was Vivaldi,
Yeah.
because as you can see, it's very clean. You don't have I don't even have the address bar because I have it
Yeah.
set on the shortcut. And when I
Yeah.
press Control Alt Z, it opens up the navigation, and I go to the website. Um, and that's what I usually do. If you want to go somewhere, you need to type it in. So
Yeah.
if you it would be, but yeah, that's my
Wow, this
favorite.
is cool. This is so cool. And yeah. Oh, I'm gonna try Vivaldi.
Yeah. And if you need help with setting up just like the OBS, let me know.
Oh, I would love that. Jimmy helped me on my way with OBS, but I would like to get into that further. Let's help each other.
Yeah, for
Maybe we
sure.
do a whole session all together. We just go into our group and see. Oh yeah, there it is.
I
By the
thought that there
way,
was an
huh?
option to also make it stick, so it will not close on session. I thought there was a setting for this as well.
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right.
If you find it, let me know.
Yeah.
Because I did. Oh man, sometimes I'm just too a bit too courageous because I was giving a webinar last week Thursday to show off the power of the block editor, and I was using Playground for a lot of stuff to show, but I did too much at the same time, and it was getting unstable, and then it looked like things weren't working. I was like, oh man, I look so stupid now. So so for that I wouldn't use it anymore for a bigger presentation. But just to try things is good. I had to re-record that webinar anyway because when I was done, the recording wasn't there.
Happened so many times. Yeah. I
Yeah,
can imagine.
but it was the most difficult thing for me was to get Thomas to come and re-record his part because he was showing of Ollie theme, the free version of Ollie theme, and all the stuff that he did with that. It's was fantastic, and that was gone too. And I think Thomas is one of the busiest guys in WordPress ever because he's doing so many demos. But he came on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
we could also do a session all together and say, let's we could get him. I'm going to try to get him for that. Let's all get into this open office with him and then say, Here's the challenge. We're sure you cannot do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him do that. I think he's good at that.
That's the yeah. It's when you develop and use the tool daily, then you know how to use it.
Yeah,
To
but we could do it. We could do it alongside, with Blockera and Green Shift, and if we would do stuff like that, everybody would learn from it. So also the Green Shift people and the Blockera people would learn, and everybody would learn.
You're now exactly saying what I am planning to do also for my YouTube channel, to not only teach one tool, but
Hmm.
create one section, because whole pages takes way too long to try
Yeah.
to recreate it, but to create
Mhm.
sections and then recreate it over and over again in different page builders. I need to figure out which one I will select. I guess if it's up to you,
Mhm.
I need to use Great Run. But I'm going to.
Definitely.
But I think um, I need to. Yeah, I think that's the best, and also an opportunity that I saw. Um, there are a lot of separate videos of it, and if you want
Mhm.
something specific, someone else in a other Facebook group also
Mhm.
asked to create the similar thing, and usually it's the similar section. So
Yeah.
why not do that? Just so it
It
would be
would be
fun
great
to.
because some people like, I like to use this or I like to use that, and maybe
Yeah,
someone says, "Oh, I need to move away from core. I could use Green Shift or Block Era or oh wow, I don't have to do much design work anymore when I use Ollie Pro or
generate
anything
blocks.
goes. The WordPress world in the site where it is so big. Come on,
Yeah,
everybody can have a bite of that cake and eat for the next 20 years. Come on."
yeah, for sure. Um, that's also my thinking. Phew, I'm getting tired, Annemieke. My
Yeah, I
brain
understand. I'm tired too.
let's wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining. I love this conversation again with you. You're so kind-hearted, open, and love to share things.
Thank you.
I really love your personality and um, everything about you. To be fair, and
Oh,
um,
thank you.
you're welcome. If people want to know more, nice. If people want to know more about you, where can they find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they hire you? Even if they want to know more about accessibility.
Type in my name in Google.
Yeah, that's a very very yeah
No, I mean really, it's just, I mean, of course I can list my site. It's annebovelett.eu. I have listed here. Can they see it in the video here? Yeah.
yeah.
You find me as Bovelett on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn. But yeah, that's how you find me.
All right. Thank you so much for joining and for all the people
Thank you
watching.
for having me. I had so much fun, and I hope we're going to do a lot of sessions together with all this, trying out these different builders.
That would be nice that you have different kinds of people. Maybe that should be
Mm,
something for a work camp, a work camp, the EU or US or whatever
mm,
that we gather people around it, just seeing how people are doing stuff in their favorite page builder. Maybe have
mhm.
a page builder challenge. That would be nice. Um,
It's going to be WordCamp Netherlands again. So,
so that's something. Um, all right.
oh, I see. I have the chat open now. I see what Nicholas and Dave were writing. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks for
Thank you,
organizing
guys.
this.
Thank you.
All right. Well, as always, people, thank you for watching and keep designing. Bye.